To Sales Link and the demo of Pharma BDI. It is a new CRM system that we are demoing for business development people who are working in the pharma, biotech, or the diagnostics industry. Welcome to Sales Link and the demo of Pharma BDI. It is a new CRM system that we are demoing for business development people who are working in the pharma, biotech, or the diagnostics industry. Welcome to Sales Link and the demo of Pharma BDI. It is a new CRM system that we are demoing for business development people who are working in the pharma, biotech, or the diagnostics industry. Welcome to Sales Link and the demo. And the demo. Hi, everybody. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened there to us. And there was some problems with our recording here. So I'm just back and hoping that it works again. So if anybody has any comments for me on what to do, this is the first time we really had problems like this. So I apologize, but we're just starting this out and we're trying to deliver a service to the industry. So let me start by just having a little bit of an icebreaker. Let me get my head together after that blooper that we just had with the technology. We do have a really nice demo for you, but we wanted to show you a little bit of entertainment, as you might say. And we're going to put up our first trivia question that we have for you today while I get my head together and we let other people join. So the trivia question we have for you today is, there's a company that's headquartered in New Jersey, and it's one of the largest labs. And they recently acquired, well, a year ago, but you know how acquisitions go. They acquired a company called MedFusion. And so I'm wondering if you can guess who that is. A large lab headquartered in New Jersey. So go ahead and try to answer that question. I'm going to show you the answer in just a minute, and hopefully you all got it right. So let's show the answer. Quest Diagnostics. How many of you got it right? Okay, I'm hearing that we're having maybe one other problem here. Boy, I'm really being challenged today. So I've got to go up and see if I can hit my source to share my screen. And I guess that's what happened. So we had a trivia question up there, and it was about who was a laboratory in New Jersey that recently acquired a company called MedFusion, very large lab. And the answer was Quest Diagnostics. Maybe I'll be able to do this right the next time. So thank you. Welcome to our demo of Pharma BDI. It is a CRM system that was created by SalesLink, my staff and I, and today we are going to demo that for you. And so I want to bring up the app, and here we are. So what I'm showing you here is the actual dashboard of our system. The dashboard is similar to other CRM systems where you typically have your buttons on the left side that help navigate you through the application. In the center of the app is what we decided to use as a place for news to be alerted to your attention while you're in the system. And then on the right side of our dashboard, we have just some advertisements about our Slack channel, which we are using for communications within our company, but also with friends and family and colleagues that have something they want to talk about in the pharma, biotech, or diagnostics industry. And then we also have the text leader. It's a tool that will allow us to send leads to your mobile phone. It comes in great and handy when you're traveling, and you may want to just look into your mobile phone, look at your text and say, what sort of leads are coming through. Maybe I have a few minutes that I can make a call out to somebody and get them to accept a meeting from you. So it's just another quick way of communications. So our last demo that we did for you last week at Thursday at 4 o'clock, we went through all the particular nuances of this system. And today, I thought I would just flip it a little bit and show you the real benefits of the system, and then we'll talk about other things that's available through the system. The real key of the system is that, number one, you are getting 500,000 contacts that are in the pharma, biotech, or diagnostics industry. That is incredible, considering we also have the second offering, which is a back office that is live, available to answer your questions, to get you additional information. We are your staff. We're there to help you, the salesperson, find out more information about contacts you're interested in, or additional companies, and it's live. It is through a communications channel here where you can plug in a ticket, we call it a support ticket. Whether you're having trouble figuring out the system or you want additional information, you can put that question in here. And we do have Marie and her team standing by who can help us with getting you answers back very quickly. So two things I offered there to you is 500,000 contacts, and we're growing every day. And then the second thing is a live back office that helps you. That live back office will answer your questions, but they'll also help you with lists. If you're looking for a particular list and you want to see it in a different way and you don't want to do it through the system, just reach out, ask us. We'll help you slice and dice information to just make it as easy as possible for you. Support and service. That's what we are trying to be to business development and salespeople, because we know what it's like to be that person. We know what it's like to get your calls in and get your information, and you just want information in front of you so you can get as many meetings as you can. And so we have our back office, we've got our database, and what you're seeing is the dashboard that pushes all of that information to you in a very customized way. And what I mean by customized is that you can customize your dashboard. So what we're going to do right now is just go into the settings area here where we have account settings. This is just a simple way to put in your account information, and it also allows you to tell the system how you want information sent to you, whether through an email, mobile phone. These are just alerts that later on will show you. So if you make a meeting, you book a meeting with somebody and you want it to be sent to your email or to your mobile phone, we can have that set up to do that for you. It's also where you can get a new password. So I think you're all familiar with how those sorts of settings work in applications and tools. Here's what we like about our system is we created an area where you can put in target companies that you are interested in seriously pursuing opportunities with. And by putting in your companies here, we can't conquer the world. You can only conquer so much. So if you select and I type in or paste in the companies you're interested in really getting into, that will drive later on these work queues that will allow you to get to business immediately without having to search through 500,000 contacts. So this is your target companies that you're setting up. You can change it as often as you want. You can add, you can remove. You can also exclude companies after you've made a meeting and you don't want to see them in the queues anymore. You can exclude the company on this side. Again, you are customizing right now your work queues later on. You also add in titles, territories, and therapeutic areas that will help you narrow down your list even more. So again, territories in account settings, you can add them, or if you just have individual states you're looking for, you can put that in there. Titles, what kind of titles are you particularly interested in meeting with? The kind of people who have titles you want to meet with, who are going to buy your services. And then therapeutic areas. If you were just focusing on oncology, you can pick anything here. We've got lots of different therapeutic areas. And if you're a company that can work on a lot of different therapeutic areas, but maybe you can't work on oncology because your company doesn't service oncology, then you would put it in the exclude. Again, all we're doing is narrowing down your dashboard and your queues for later on. And then you can also add in phases of development that a company may be working in. So you can type in and add in phase 1, 2, or 3. But you know what I say? I say leave it open. Not everybody keeps their other data, the other databases like clintrials.gov. They update it so often, but companies could be out of a phase and you may be pulling in information that's old. So I would probably leave that blank. And then the last thing is they're asking you how many priority prospects do you want to see in the queue that you can work on later on. And I always say 2 per company is fine for me. That's all I need to call each day. So again, we took a prospect criteria area and we are narrowing down who you are targeting in the industry. You're putting it into this system so that later on you are going to go to work queues that tell you exactly who to call and gives you all the information that you need very quickly. It's really nice. And then the last thing you might want to do is the companies that you're targeting, you obviously want to read about them. So why not set your news criteria, the news in your dashboard, to just narrow down information about these companies. And so in that area, again, the news criteria, you would copy or type in the companies that you are interested in seeing news about. And all this does is it narrows down the scope, because remember, it's 500,000 good quality contacts, but you're not after every single one of them. You have your specific titles you're looking for. You want to make sure your system is tight and that you can operate swiftly with the information that you have there. So after you've set up everything in your settings that you want, this is when you can go to the power areas. These are called the work queues. These work queues are going to be set up to show the contacts. Remember, you put in target companies and you put in titles. So now what you want to do is see them. So you have target companies and then you have priorities. Targets are for the companies that you put in on your target list. Priorities are every other company that's in your territory that has titles you asked for or therapeutic areas. It's the extra filler companies that you can be looking at after you've finished working on your target companies. So what you do is when you're clicking into the target company prospect queue, the companies that we had as targets are listed here, and the appropriate titles I wanted are listed here as well. And you can put as many as you want on a page. So if you want to look for all of them, you can do some toggling, okay? And you can do it by alphabetical order, or you can do it by any of these. You can do it by city, by state, whatever's appropriate for you. So you're doing toggling. So now you've got your list of contacts that you can reach out to. And you know what's really great about this also is if, say, you're a salesperson that's organizing your work, but you are lucky enough to have an assistant or someone who can make calls for you, you can basically set up your queues and you can give somebody the access to your system and ask them to make the calls for you. this way you're not having to give them a lot of direction other than a script. And that's easy enough, but just imagine how great that is. You leave your calls for the day for people, and you get them done, because you know how it is. You start on Monday, you think you're going to get through all your calls, and then before you know it, it's Friday, and you're like, I didn't make any calls. This is all to help alleviate that stress and get it done, because it's a numbers game. Let's face it. We know the more you call, the more chances you get of going in and having meetings booked for you. So I hope this makes sense to you, because right now that to me helps. I do my calls. I have people who help me with calls in order to get the work done that I have to get done. This helps me in the morning get up and get started and get going without wasting an hour figuring out who I'm going to call. And so what I thought I'd do now is I'm just going to take a little bit of a chance to see if I can see if anybody's asking any questions. And I'm going to just try to figure this out and see where my questions might be. And I do see somebody say that they like how you can customize the news and what news sources are, is that information coming from? So I want to go back to looking at the application, because in the application, I can share with you, and you can see at any given time where we're getting our news from. So the news sources here, they're listed. And the good news about this and the way we operate is, again, if you go to the communications tab and you want to put an idea in and tell us who else to add to the news source, you will we'll add it, and then we'll have more information coming from the news source that you want. The criteria for news source is really interesting, because people say often, how do we find the new companies, the companies that really aren't on the radar screen, and a lot of people don't know about them yet. So one of the things I'll do in my news criteria is, as I'm adding the companies that I want, which I did down here, I'll also add in things like NDA and funding. This way, anybody who's getting funding, it pops up right in your news feed, and it gives you that leg up to find companies that maybe others aren't in yet. And I've had many people say, how did you find that company? I didn't even know that they were around. So I hope that answered your question. And now what I want to do is we went through the target company prospect so that you know how to get started immediately in the morning. And it should really take a lot of the wasted time out of prepping. I know that's exactly where people get stuck. So I made sure when we built this that was one of the first things that we did, so that people wouldn't have to suffer through all the agony. Now, we also have the priority prospect queue, and it's similar to the target one, where you'll get contacts populated in there and you can pursue them. So I also wanted to share with you what happens now, the next step of reaching out to people. So I'm going to click into this contact, and what you're going to have available to you is all the information about this person, their LinkedIn. You could click on here and get out to the LinkedIn. You have their company, their address, phone number, email address. What more could you ask for, right? The nice thing here is, if you do see something, we try to be as accurate as we can be. But if you do see something that has to be changed, feel free. You can tell us something, you can change something that we may have about an address, phone number. You found a different email address, you want us to have it, or you just want to free form any kind of comment to us, you can do that in there. We're trying to be really good with communications, because let's face it, that's where most people go wrong. I'll also show you some of the other information you have. Say you want to call Jonathan, and you're saying, I'd like to know a little bit about Jonathan first. So you can check him out on LinkedIn and see what he's doing on LinkedIn. But you can also come down here and look at the company detail information that we have on the company, for example. what they are and what they work in, and some of the conditions and drugs. And we also have a tab here for the clinical trials. So if there was clinical trial activity ongoing, it would be here from ClinTrials, and then also company news. Any of the latest news that is published, and I think this was yesterday, that Roche is backing a company here that raised 21 million euros to expand their CNS and R&D. So this is a great resource of, saying, okay, I see this. Maybe when I call Jonathan, I'll mention it to him and see what he has to say about it. After you call Jonathan, you can actually put in your annotation here by indicating that you made the call, indicating what the action result was. So if we did put in here a call, and we did say here that, maybe on this one you had to leave a voicemail, and maybe you want to reach back out to him, next week. So you can just kind of plug in a follow-up date for yourself here and save that. Now, Jonathan, let's look and see about Jonathan. If you go into one of the work queues here and you want to look at a follow-up, we'll see if Jonathan made it there. Jonathan Cheney made it into the follow-up area. So a great way for you to not to lose track of Jonathan. Okay. It's 4:21 now. We tried to keep our demos to 30 minutes. And so I just want to share and see if there's any other questions that we may have that we want to go through. So just stand by for 1 second. I'm going to get myself organized here. And I do see a question here. It's, can you please go over what information is available to me about the person before I made a call out to them? Guess what, Annika? I already answered that question. Whew, I got through that one. I think there's a few other questions. Let's see. News. We talked about, so just a quick question going back to the target companies. Is every search result for target companies validated? So thank you. The question was, is everything validated? So we have a 15-man back office at SalesLink, and we know how important it is to have data current for you. And so that's what my back office people do. They enjoy what they're doing. I always tell them we're like a factory. Each contact is like a widget, like in a factory. And I said you have to treat each one of those with care, because people are reaching out. And they want to reach out to those person. They don't want to get on the phone and find out they're not there any longer. We try to be, I'm not going to say we're perfect. I wish we were, but we're not. So there might be some times that might not be spot on, but I have to tell you, we take that very serious. We know what you're coming to us for, and we try to be the best that we can be. So you just keep letting me know on these demos how we're doing. So why don't we do another trivia question? So I have to go and I think I'm sharing my screen, so I'm going to do a second trivia question. Let's have a break. Okay, so the question is, these data heads at this company called Dataceutics spends their day analyzing tables, listings, and graphs. If you wanted to hire one of these people for your reports, you would ask for and let's see, what sort of position I almost closed that. What kind of position would you ask for? And the answer is a statistician or a SAS programmer. That's what they sell. That's what they do. They support the industry with great programmers, biostatisticians, and they don't hire anyone unless there's 10 years of basic experience behind them, and they're a good company to work with. So that's our trivia question. Okay, so I just want to see if there's any other questions, and it doesn't look so right now. So what I'm going to do is just return back to, I want to go back to the demo. I am sharing my screen, so it says, okay, so bear with me for 1 second, and here we are. I'll close. We have 5 more minutes, and I just would like to tell you a little bit more about some of the buttons here on the left side. I showed you how to be efficient in the beginning with using these work queues. You can also come into our system do a basic search by putting anybody's name in. Say you met a John and you met him at Pfizer, and you can't remember his last name. It'll bring up every John in Pfizer, and you can figure out which one it is if you can remember. Sometimes if you just get a head start, it's great. The other thing I love to use this system for is if we know a zip code area that you're going to be traveling to, and you want to find other people that are within 25 miles and they have to have it be in the clinical space, you can basically do a search, and the search will produce for you others who are in that area of that zip code that I put in. And that's a great way that you can call out, reach out to people, and try to get meetings one after the other in the same vicinity. So this way you're not driving and you're spending more time meeting rather than driving. So I must have selected something that has a lot of people because it's cranking and it'll pop up. There it goes. Sorry, as soon as I scroll up. So these are all people that are 25 miles from the zip code that I put in. And same thing, you just click in here, reach out to them, call, email, and it's really about just quickly, being efficient and making calls out to the people that you want to. We also have the same thing for company search. If you wanted to look for all companies that are focused in, say, diabetes, you could do that. And we also have campaigns scheduled. So if you're a corporate client of ours, if you asked us to run a campaign for you, they would show up here in this screen. And how that all starts is through in our communications area. I think it's in our communications area that we actually, you can set up a campaign request. And this campaign request, you put in the information, when you want to start your campaign, when you want to end it, your targeted titles, your therapeutic areas, and you even get to upload your picture. Not your picture. You can send me your picture if you want, but you upload the actual file, the letter that you want us to send on your behalf. And so it's very efficient. You could be doing it in the middle of the night if you forgot you're traveling and you got to get something out. It's a great way to work with us. And we also have a calendar here that you can plug in, when you plan to be traveling to certain areas. So lots of good information here. And then last, let's talk about the reports. You've done work during the week and you're running to a meeting and you want to collect and put all your calls that you put in for the week. You want to have something in front of you. Or, you may just want to show it up on the screen. And so if you made calls, you can plug them in and you can display who your calls were to and what the results were. And the reports tool also allows you to do that for any email sent or for all of the information. So it's a good way to look at the productivity you had for the week. So we're coming to an end now, so I thought maybe let me show the last of the trivia questions that we have. And the last one is, WCCT, a global CRO specializing in phase 1 clinical development, is located in this region of the United States, known for its sunny beaches and dramatic Pacific coastline. Let's think about. And so where do you think they are? It's not too hard, right? Southern California. All right. So for this week, I hope that it was helpful what I was showing about the system. We are doing our demos every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to change it up each week. Questions from the audience is always welcomed. We want to be the best that we can be for you. And what I'm going to do is just see if there's any more questions before I turn off. And I'm not sure that there are. But let me just check one more time. And it looks like there might be other questions. And I'm just going to see if I can read them. Click to view. And it looks like for some reason I'm not seeing them. So I apologize for that. We've got to get better with the questions, I think. But thank you very much for sharing your time with us today. I hope it was useful. And come back and see us next Thursday. And we'll talk to you then. Thanks. Bye-bye.